Okay, it's saying that it's live streamed now, so I guess we could wait a second for Ashley, or should we just get going, Pat?
She's trying to log in. Maybe give her a second.
Yeah, we're just trying to get our last counselor online here.
Mr. Mayor, we should probably proceed.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to the January 19th, 2022 version of Bruderheim Town Council. Welcome everyone, Happy New Year. Would someone from council be willing to read the acknowledgement today? Councillor Wayne.
Today, I acknowledge that the town of Bruderheim is located on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation of Alberta. The town of Bruderheim honors the first peoples of this land. We recognize that we stand upon land that carries the footsteps of Cree, Métis, Blackfoot, amongst other nations who have been here for thousands of years. Therefore, the town of Bruderheim has an inherent responsibility to foster healthier relationships with First Peoples and further the calls to action as outlined by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Thank you for that, Councillor Wayne. Welcome, Ashley. Looks like you made it back in.
I did, sorry.
We'll call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Nothing from admin, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there anything requested from council? Hearing nothing, I look for a motion from council to adopt the agenda as presented. Councillor George has his hand up.
I'll make that motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you. And any comments, questions, or concerns with the agenda from anybody? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. I'd just like to point out that it will be a little bit difficult trying to see some of the folks down at the far end, like Deputy Mayor Schuler. When you stick up your hand, please, do that, because then I can see your hand moving. Thank you. So we have a delegation this evening. We're very fortunate. We have Northern Lights Library System presentation from James McDonald and Vicky Lefebvre. Do we have them online with us right now, or are they in person?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. McDonald is with us here in council chambers, and he's ready to present to council. I'm just going to share my screen when he asks me to, and I will turn the mic over to him.
Thanks. Welcome, Mr. McDonald.
All right, I think I'm on the mic. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I don't see Vicky on the line, which is unusual. She's usually very prompt, but I just texted her and she says trying to get the link here. So maybe do you have her email there, or I assume she had the link. I know I saw it sent to her, so let me just see if I can forward that to her. She's our chair from, she's a councillor with the city of Cold Lake. And let me just see if it will.
While you're working on that, James, I'd just like to say Happy New Year and welcome to the town of Bruderheim. Glad to have you aboard.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So I just texted her, so hopefully that link, so hopefully she'll pop on there any moment, but I'll get started. She's heard my spiel about 5,000 times, I think now. So I'm sure she won't miss much. So just by way of introduction, this is, I'm just coming up on a year with Northern Lights, but this isn't my first kick at the can. I was with Northern Lights 15 years ago as a consulting librarian. It sounds like somebody's coming in. And since then, I've been worked for University of Northern British Columbia. I was down to the United States most recently, spent a couple of years on contract with the American University of Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. So I've been all over the world, and this is one of the best places to be, Northeastern Alberta. Northeastern Alberta, and this the regional library system that I represent, we have 49 libraries and 55 participating municipalities. You're one of them.
Great. And I can see you now, James.
Oh, excellent.
Welcome.
I see myself there too. That's great.
I see Vicky is online as well.
Yeah, there's Vicky. So great. So what I'll do is you should have received a value statement. I'll kind of speak to that, and I'm happy to answer questions. And yeah, I won't take too much of your time, but we'll just go through that. So the 55 municipalities that are members of Northern Lights, you pay $5.23 per resident to be a member of the system. We're one of 7 regional systems in the province, and we partner with 3 other regional systems in a sharing consortium called TRAC. So your residents have access to 3.6 million items through our library catalog. We send vans out to all of our libraries weekly. You will receive a van every week to, with books and other materials in it. Our library boards also pay a levy of $5.23. So together, generally, you have a municipality that pays $5.23 and a library board that pays $5.23 for a levy of $10.46. So municipalities that are members that don't have library boards, those are often counties. We become their board of record and they pay the straight $10.46 to be members. So essentially, we gather a little bit of money from a little bit from lots of pots, and we put it all together to get enough together to provide the services that we do. One of the big services that we provide is the movement of materials around the province. In 2020, we moved $18 million worth of material in northeastern Alberta. So essentially what that means is the residents of Northeast Alberta, if they wanted to purchase those materials on their own instead of getting them from the library, they would have spent $18 million. Of course, we don't spend nearly that. The operating budget for Northern Lights is about $2.2 million. So your levy cost is $7,000. From that $7,000, we take $2.15 per person out of that 1046, $2.15 per person. We set that aside for the purchase of books to ensure that your library has, and all the libraries in our area have a up-to-date current collection. So it's the purchase of books. We don't get that for our operating, it goes straight to your libraries. In 2020, we purchased, we spent about $350,000 in the system. Because of our big bulk purchasing power, we all buy together, we're able to get steep discounts. We saved your libraries around $100,000 in the area. 2020 must have been pretty hard for Bruderheim and its public library, I think. Yeah, some of your numbers are a little bit on the lower side. But we have consulting librarians working with your libraries, and we're hoping to get things better. And I imagine 2021 was much better. So I'll be interested to see the 21 numbers. We're still gathering those. So these represent your 2020 numbers. Okay. In 2020, you did $42,800 worth of circulation value in Bruderheim. So you paid $7,000. Your residents received $42,000 in circulation value. But it's not just books and materials that we get out there. Most communities of this size cannot afford professional librarians. We hire professional librarians that consult with your libraries. You have an assigned consultant in Kayla Redcliffe. She's an excellent young librarian with multiple master's degrees and quite a bit of experience there to be there for your library staff. In 2020, you did about $238 worth of consulting value. So you could take more advantage of that in the years. I'd like to see your 2021 numbers as they come in. And you did, it looks like just about $100 worth of technical support. So 2020 must have been pretty rough. I imagine it was rough for a lot of people. But so we do the consulting value. Those librarians help with the consulting of collection development, policy, just the running of your library in general, staffing, all of that kind of thing, board management. We help consult with that. We also do the technical support in terms of, I can't get my printer to work. I don't know how to use this software. How do I set up this computer? That kind of technical, that's what that represents. We also provide your SuperNet connection, your internet connection, your Wi-Fi, your Office 365 support, all of that sort of stuff. So that's not reflected in these numbers, but that is also taken care of with the Northern Lights operating budget for your library. So you don't have to pay for that. In 2020, you borrowed 650 books from outside of your library. So not the stuff on your shelves. This is coming from other libraries. And you lent 2,200 books. You're one of the very few libraries that we have that are, wait, there's some feedback there. So Yeah, so a little strange that you're a net lender. Again, it's probably a reflection, you likely, do you guys, was the library doors locked or closed during 2020 at all? Did you have to shut down for a while? Yeah, so that's probably a reflection of that. You know, it hurts.
Someone's mic needs to be muted, please.
Probably on the Zoom. Maybe
Vicky, your mic is on?
Yeah.
we're getting some feedback, Vicky, if you might want to mute that.
I'm trying to shut off my phone where I originally connected. And of course, the power is not going to work quickly.
All
There we
good.
go.
Yes.
Right. All this echoing. Okay. So what happened in 2020, from what I understand, is with the Lamont School being connected to their library, people couldn't go into their library. So then I guess, you know, like between, because we're so close, we're 10 minutes away.
Yep.
I believe somebody came down here too.
Yeah.
Which worked.
Which might have led to more of your lending through your library, your net lending going up.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. You have about 200 registered library users. That's also on the a little bit on the lower side. There are a few things we're considering as a board and as a group to increase marketing. Now the 200 library members that you have registered, that is a low report, because you will have families of 2, 3, 4, 5 that are represented by one card here. So this is not quite as dry or drastic as it might look. So very interesting. One of the other ways you save through Northern Lights, again, I mentioned before, the acquisitions, we get better deals, you know, than you would normally trying to buy on your own. You saved about $865 in 2020 doing that. And not only that, we do your cataloging for you. So, you know, you can't just buy a book and put it on the shelf of a library and expect people can find it. Somebody's got to catalog that, put it in a system where you could search for it, find it, put stickers on it so it can be organized, all of that sort of stuff. So you also saved about $1,300 in having us do that for you rather than you do it on your own. We also provide summer, winter reading programs, other training programs for your library staff, but training also for the public. At a system level that your community can take advantage of. So we say here 7 programs. Well, one of those programs could be the whole summer long reading program. 2020 and 2021 were tough. We usually do things like send out magicians and stuff and other entertainers and things to libraries where they can take advantage of that. But of course, COVID shut us down from that. But we did pivot. We went online. We had things like the Bonneville Pontiacs hockey team reading Twilight, vampire romance teen novel online, which was quite entertaining. We had CFL players reading to kids. We had trivia nights for adults and youth. We had, you know, knitting and crocheting for seniors. Yeah.
Was that here, like, it was all live broadcast?
It was
like
all,
Bruderheim could have?
Yeah, Bruderheim residents could jump on. It was all done by a Zoom.
Where did you advertise that? Like that was going on?
Yeah, it would be advertised straight through your library. So, you know, one interesting thing about the way libraries are set up, we're a member services. So every library is independent. And while we can feed you marketing materials and feed you all that stuff, it's up to your local library to get that out to your community and pick and choose what they want. So right now, for example, we have a winter reading program going on. I hope maybe some of you have heard of it. Again, it comes down to your library choosing to participate or not. But I know I was just looking this morning at pictures from all sorts of kids putting in. Part of the winter reading program was to create snow sculptures and from books and other things they're doing. And so I got to look at some very entertaining snow sculptures from kids this morning. It was quite interesting. But yeah, I would certainly take advantage of checking in with your library, and we're here to help too with your marketing. We have tools for marketing those resources. The Library Aware is one of them, which will help create posters and things that help. We pay for that so that your library manager isn't spending a bunch of time trying to create marketing tools. We send them out, help with your social media, etc. We're really there to enhance your library services and extend them far beyond what you could do on your own, certainly. So we appreciate, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We have Diana as our manager, but our Wayne is the board chair locally, and our representative is Len. There you are, Len. I'm still getting to know everyone, and it's been hard because we're all on Zoom. So thanks for being on the board. We really appreciate that.
And James, Wayne has his hand up there.
Oh, super. Hi, Wayne.
He's the chair. You're muted, I think.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, I was just looking at the names in there, and those are incorrect right now, I believe.
Okay.
The board chair is actually Ashley's is on the board now.
Okay.
But that's recent, but just that just caught my eye there. I just had a question though. In regards to, you talked about the marketing and social media and stuff like that for the librarian to get a hold of, would she get a hold of Kayla as well, or is there someone else she gets contact with?
Yeah, she could always contact Kayla. That's her consulting librarian, and Kayla can get her in touch with anyone that needs to be on our staff. And the other
Okay.
option too is we have a help desk. She can write emails to ask@nlls.ab.ca. That goes into it as a ticket, and we make sure that she gets contacted. So lots of opportunities. We have a 1-800 number. They can get a hold of us that way as well. And there's just lots of opportunity there. So.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll just say, this last election has really turned things over. We've got 75% of our board has changed over, 30 some odd new members on the board, but we're very pleased with them, and we're excited to have them on. You'll see here this engagement section in the bottom corner. This will be Len's report card in the future. How many meetings did he attend? But we're glad to have him there, and we will be meeting by Zoom. We're going to continue that. It saved us a lot of money. We plan to meet once a year in person, and that will be in conjunction with our regular annual conference out in Elk Point. So again, another way of kind of combining things to save money. It's good to meet in person, as you know. We also get our library managers together regularly. They meet and can share expertise and build off of each other, et cetera. And we have coffee chats monthly for them to drop in on and work with our consultants as well. In the bottom corner of this value statement, if you have it electronically, it should be clickable. If you've got it in paper, it's a QR code so you can get to it. There are two things there. One is how these stats are calculated. So if you're seeing something that looks off and you're like, how did you get to those numbers? You can go and check that if you'd like. And the other will take you to the electronic version of this 36-page service catalog. I will leave a print copy with you. And I think we've sent one to your CAO as well, but it's worth taking a look at. This really details, this is a window, this value statement's a window into what we provide. This will really detail everything from, you can get to our budget, to all the various services that we provide you. One of the things about libraries is they're one of the last places in your community where your residents can go with no expectation to spend money, right? They are open to the youngest and the oldest and everyone in between. They really do make a big difference in the quality of life of your residents. And it's not just about entertainment and books and all those things are very important. You think about the money you spend on arenas and all that sort of stuff. This is really open to all, and entertainment is a great value and increases your quality of life. But it also, you'll find people at the library getting on the Wi-Fi, filling out government documents, getting help with that, doing resumes, figuring out how to get that. We have a small engine repair database, for example, how to get that old engine running on the farm, all of that and in between. So it's both a knowledge and information resource, as well as an entertainment resource. And we appreciate your support of the system. We aren't asking for an increase in our levy. We have, this will be the third year in a row. We haven't asked for one. We are trying very hard to work within the means that we have. That can't go on forever. I think our inflation rate this year is like 4.5%. I just read, but we're doing everything we can to work within our means. And so we do appreciate your support. Vicki, if you want to bring greetings from the board and then open it for questions, and I try not to take too much of these good folks' time.
Welcome,
Now,
Vicki.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try and be really fast because I know we have a short time frame. First off, thank you very much for inviting us and allowing us to share the information. As you know, James is new with us this year. It's just coming up to a year, February 1st, and we've made a number of changes through the board. And one of the things is we're trying to be even more transparent in regards to all the things we do. Excuse me. He did mention that we have 37 new out of 55. So I think this year we'll spend more time on professional development and just helping a lot of people understand their roles, because a lot of our Northern Lights reps are also new to their municipalities. So they've, it's a big learning curve and we understand that, but we'll try and make the transition as easy as possible. We send out weekly reports, and when you want to look further into it, you can just do the blue link. I did put on here, like for our reading programs and stuff like that, they are open to everyone within our Northern Lights library system. You can, like he said, we had junior A players read, we had football players read, but we had a lot of people join us from throughout the area. And we have a large area, but we have our Facebook feed in case sometimes your library may not be able to keep up. We have our own Facebook. We have, you can get a direct link off your libraries. And if you want, you can even add it right off your town website. If you like, just add our link right there. But really, we like to go through your library because we want people going through there and utilizing their services, because that's what we're all about, is being there for service. And I just want to thank you for allowing us to come and open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Anyone have their hands up? Not seeing any right at the moment. I just wanted to say thanks for the reminder about the events that we maybe can catch a hold of and find a better or a quicker or more efficient avenue to get that information out to our residents. And I found it interesting that you said you have a Facebook page, so I'll have to look
Yes.
that up. That's just Northern Lights.
Northern Lights library system. So we have that, just in case you miss it off your regular. Most of the libraries have their own Facebook page, but if they don't, you can join ours. And it's open, and we usually say what's happening in the area. So that's always good. They will put out all kinds of different things. But now especially because, we warmed up to a -28 right now. So especially while we have to do things online and stuff like that, there is some good stuff on there for people to do while they're stuck in the home.
And
Right.
I also wanted to say I very much appreciate your diligent efforts in keeping the cost low during a difficult time frame like now. I'm sure our residents appreciate that. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Is there any other questions from our council for James or Vicky?
Well,
Looks like, Councillor George has his hand up.
You were talking about internet services like
Mhm.
training and stuff like that. Is that available through through our library system here? If I wanted to go over to the library and spend a half a day or whatever, do some training or something like that, that can be accomplished.
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we subscribe to is used to be called lynda.com. So you can actually do it from home as well. So there's online training that's available. It's now called LinkedIn Learning, and it can do everything. It has training courses on software and learn a language. All that kind of stuff is there. So it depends on what kind of training you want to get. But if you're trying to get the skills you need to get a job, or you're just trying to figure out how to do X with your computer, or learn to program, or I'm trying to think of all the other things that are in there. Learn to fix your tractor, whatever it might be. There's those kinds of tutorials and workshops and stuff right online. We also do training for our librarians and the library staff as well through Northern Lights, and we record those and make them available to our libraries as well.
So if I wanted to get a program, all I would have to do is go to the library, say what I wanted, and they would point me in the direction that I need on my online
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, they would help you find, what you're looking for. And if they're having trouble, send them to us. We'll find it for you. We'll make it happen. So
Thank you.
yeah, you bet. There's lots of those resources. This service catalog might be interesting to browse through. It's got the list of all of our electronic resources in there. We have, language training, all that kind of stuff, and links from the paper copy to the website where you can get the information. So
And there's resume writing. There's all kinds of things to meet the needs of anyone within your community. And if it's not there, we'll work to get it.
you might find, I would not be shocked if you see people parked out in front of that library over there from
Mhm.
time to time, because the Wi-Fi, I'm sure, bleeds into your park. And almost all of our libraries have people parked out in front of the library all the time. And with your library card, you can get onto the Wi-Fi. It's one of the things we have been looking at, is to embrace that and put the access points, weatherproof ones, on the outside of the buildings, because why not? And these, in 2020, one of the kind of heartwarming stories for me was even when libraries were closed, they were doing curbside pickup, and people were out in front of the libraries doing everything from, watching Netflix because they didn't have Wi-Fi on the farm, or doing coursework and getting their homework done because they couldn't get to it in other locations. So we're doing our best to see how people use the library, because it's different today than it used to be, and trying to meet those needs. But yeah, there's all sorts of things over there. Go walk through the door and take a look at what's available to you, because it's a lot.
Thank you for that, James. A great question, George. So just following up on George's question, there's a computer in the library that a person can use, and they could also bring their own computer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, both computer there and computers there, public computers, and then the Wi-Fi is available for folks there as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions from our council for James or Vicky? Oh,
Sorry, I've got the remnants of a cold.
goodness. Yeah. So we very much appreciate your time, and thank you for James for coming in person, and for Vicky coming virtually, and look forward to chatting with you again in the future. And thank you very much for your support of our community.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us. We'll see you.
Okay, take care.
This tag team is out.
Thanks for coming.
Great.
Yeah, see you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So we'd be looking for a motion from our council to accept the presentation from Northern Lights Library System as information. Would somebody be willing to make that motion? Looks like Deputy Mayor has her hand up in the back there.
Make a motion that town council accept the January 19th, 2022 Northern Lights Library System presentation received from NLSS Executive Director James McDonald and NLLS Board Chair Vicky Lefebvre as information.
Great, thank you for that motion, Deputy Mayor Judy. Any comments, questions, or their concerns or thoughts on that motion? Okay, hearing nothing, I'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. Thank you very much. So next on the agenda is adopting minutes of the December 15th, 2021 regular meeting of council. Looking for a motion from council to accept those minutes. Councillor George has his hand up.
Yes, I'll make a motion that the council accept the minutes of the December 15th, 2021 regular council meeting as presented.
Thank you for that, Councillor George. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Anything noted or to note for the minutes from council? Okay, must be looking good then. Call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion to accept the minutes? And the motion's carried. So we can move on to council priorities and information requests. So information requests will go around the room. Let's start with Deputy Mayor Judy.
I only have one, and it comes to taxes and our bills. So when somebody pays the taxes at the end of June and they don't pay it all or whatever, and there's a balance owing, does a statement go out showing them how much they owe with the penalty on it? Or should a statement go out?
So, Mr. Mayor, through Deputy Mayor Schuler, in advance of the next penalty date, sorry, off the top of my head, I believe it's August. Advance of that, they'll get a statement warning them that this is their balance. And then on August, sorry, it escapes me the exact date. I think it's the end of August, another penalty will be applied. So advance of every new penalty being applied, they're given notice.
Thank you for that.
Okay, that satisfies the question, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, any other questions?
Not for me, thanks.
Okay, then we'll move on to Councillor Len.
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Len. Councillor Jacobs.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
I'll be lenient. Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Ashley.
Just inquiring about my request for the lighting on the southeast corner of the arena.
I'll turn that question over to my Director of Public Works, Mr. Tomashat.
Mr. Mayor, through the Councilor Carter, so the light has been purchased. We're just waiting for the one day that it gets warm enough for us to do that. As you can imagine, our last days that it was warm, we were a little tied up in snow removal. So it is on our radar. We're hoping to have that installed this week.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Ashley. Any other questions?
No, that was everything.
Okay, Councillor Wayne.
I got no request at this time. No.
Great. Thank you very much. I do have one question that I received from a resident. They're asking, would it be possible to have the town consider naming the major pieces of equipment the town uses, like the loader or the dump truck or the grader? And then we could invite folks to have a naming contest, just something that was passed on to me from a resident. So wanted to pass that along to administration, and it could be something fun to do. And
Mr.
so
Mayor,
now,
if I could
yep.
just comment on that, actually, a couple of us have been brainstorming for National Public Works Week and working with the school on some sort of fun engagement. So that is actually on our radar. So
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that. So program requests will go in reverse order. Councillor Wayne, any program requests?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Ashley,
Nothing at this time.
thank you. Councillor George,
Nothing at this time. Thanks.
Councillor Dana,
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Councillor Len,
Nothing at this time.
and finally Deputy Mayor Judy, any program requests?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we move on to section 8, request for decisions, 8.1, revision to employee performance appraisal program policy. Take it away, CAO Pat.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Administration would like to bring forward a policy. The purpose of this report is to provide information for town council to consider revisions to the employee performance appraisal program policy HUM-089. The town council approved the employee performance appraisal program policy HUM-089 as revised on January 19, 2022. Previously, council approved the personnel and procedures policy number 29 in 2002 to 2013 and on December 16, 2015. This employee performance appraisal program policy HUM-089 contains portions of information from the previous personnel policy and procedures manual and placed in a separate policy. This policy was approved by town council on April 4th, 2018. Strategic plan areas: a community is educated on responsibilities, limitation of council administration, other impacts, employment standard code and regulations. Summary: administration is reviewing policies, determine if updates are required. Revisions to this policy include changing the administrative responsibility from Director of Finance to Director of Corporate Services, the addition of supervising in front of the word director to reflect which director is responsible for carrying out the procedures, changing the review date to read April 2025. The revised employee performance appraisal program, HUM-089 will be shared with employees. And we've enclosed the old policy and the new one, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking for a motion from council for the revision to the employee performance appraisal program. Councillor Wayne,
The town council approved the employee performance appraisal program policy HUM 089 as revised on January 19, 22. Sorry.
thank you very much. So any questions from council with this program? Councillor George has his hand up.
Yes, with the addition of supervising in front of the word director to reflect which director is responsible for carrying out responsibilities. How many directors do we have at the present time and how many employees do we have altogether in the public works or that is affected by this?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, currently we have 2 administrative directors with 1 employee, and we have 1 public works director with 5 employees.
So you'd only be changing the words, adding the word supervisor to 1 public works director then?
Mr. Mayor, that would be through Councillor Campbell, be all inclusive. So the director that directly supervises a staff member, currently, you know, we have 1 vacant position. So administratively, we in the administration office, 1 director has 1 employee, each of the directors, but 1's vacant right now. So
That's in administration.
yes.
I'm talking about public works.
So public works is 1 director and 5 employees. So he's the director. So essentially, the director of corporate services would not be responsible for the performance appraisals of public works employees. That's what this policy says. So it has, instead of just the word director, that any director could write the appraisal for an employee, we say supervising directors. So they're actually supervising those employees, right? So the corporate services director would not do appraisals on public works employees, right?
No.
So essentially, we're just putting clarity in the policy.
So at the moment, then we will only have 1 supervisor director for public works then.
That's correct.
And he will be doing all the administrative, not administrative, but the budgeting, all the scheduling and all of work performance evaluations and of the 5 employees that are under him.
So, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, this policy is directly related to employee performance appraisals. And so that's what we're putting clarity around.
Okay.
Just the appraisal
I
part.
was just wanting to know how much upper staff we have compared to lower staff.
Okay.
Just as long as we don't topple the tree.
Thank you for that question, Councillor Campbell, and for the answer, CAO Pat. Any other questions from council?
And Mr. Mayor, if I could just put a point of clarity, the 2 directors and admin oversee a number of contracted services. So one can't just look at the number of employees on the tree. There's a number of contracted services that need supervising as well. So.
But they don't fall under this policy.
No, I was just point of clarity for Councillor Campbell that it's not always just the employees on the pie chart.
Right, yeah, and a feel for the number of contractors they may be directing at times?
Mr. Mayor, I would say that the corporate services director oversees 5 separate contracts, and the director of legislative services, I'd have to clarify, but I'm sure it's upwards of around 10. And
Okay.
we do appraisals on those contracts as well, so.
Thank you for that. Definitely a tree well supported then. Councillor Wayne.
Just for, I guess, clarity, because on every director you put supervising prior to it, would that go as well on number 2D, I guess, on page 2? It says directors have the option. Should that be supervising as well? So it's the last sentence before number 3. Under guidelines, sorry.
Sorry, Councillor Campbell, I can't see where that
Sorry.
says that.
So guidelines number 2, there's A, B, C, D, and then there's that star And it says employees have reached maximum salary. There's a category.
Oh, instead of, I see what you mean, yeah.
Says director, should that be supervising as well? If we're changing all the other ones.
Yeah, it could be, that could be an administrative change, yeah, absolutely.
And just the same thing on procedures, number 2C, informing the supervising director. Can they, again, I'm just, if all the other ones are done, I'm just wondering if those should be done as well, if it makes a difference. I
No,
don't,
absolutely, that's a good catch, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne. Any other questions from council on this policy? Not seeing any other hands up. I do have a question just for clarity. So on the copy that I have, it says last review date, April 4th, 2018. So that would have been the date that it was last reviewed. On the new copy that will be signed will have today's date on there then?
Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Okay.
As
And
soon as
then-
it's approved by council, it will change, reflect the date.
Sure. And then on number 1H, I was just looking for some clarity on understanding to provide a basis for granting salary increases. This would be salary increases not tied to COLA.
Mr. Mayor, that's correct. All employees have a 5-step grid. And so moving up on the grid is not just about being here for a year. It's about satisfactory performance. So doing an appraisal is one of the tools we use for granting a salary increase on the grid. And many of our long-term employees are already at the maximum grid. I think we only have one public works employee that still has movement on the grid.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question that I have is just a suggestion for wording. Number 3 on the second page, B, it says employee has at least satisfactory level of performance, just suggesting maybe employee has achieved a satisfactory level of a performance, just to try to clear that language up a little bit. That was just a suggestion.
Mr. Mayor, that actually is a level on the performance appraisal. That's why it's kind of worded like that. Non-satisfactory, satisfactory. So, which means they couldn't have got a non-satisfactory level, if that helps.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just the way the at least was there. Just a suggestion. And that's all that I had. Anything else further from council on this policy? Not seeing any hands up.
I have
So,
one more question.
Councillor George has.
When you do your appraisal, what kind of method of evaluation? I'm talking about now knowledge of testing an employee's knowledge of his job. Do you have written tests, oral tests, performance, practicality procedures?
So, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, we do, so not so much on the administrative side. People come with qualifications, do training, right? But as far as on the public works side, we do have a trainer, which we're fortunate to have, that signs off on staff, making sure that they're competent. And those evaluations are submitted to the Director of Public Works for review. And of course, throughout the year, staff members are given feedback on their performance. And as well, some of our staff have to get CEUs. So if they have water, wastewater, safety, those designations require annual CEUs, which they do external training. So is that answer your question?
Kind of. As you know, I like paper. I like hard questions and I like the answers to them. And I've been through many progressions programs. And one of those was where you had written factual evidence of the person's knowledge, and also you had a factual oral test where your supervisor and your employee would go out to a certain area, and your supervisor would ask numerous questions. How you answered them, how you would do them. The paper test also give the supervisor an understanding of this employee's knowledge, and it gave also a better way of knowing that this person knows his work rather than just taking and watching.
So, Mr. Mayor, through Council Campbell, we're fortunate. A lot of our training sessions too are online, which they are self-paced learning. And so staff will be able, they answer and they're scored, and We recently just did customer conflict resolution online, which I made mandatory. So I have mandatory training for a lot of our staff I signed us up for. And when I'm finding we're such a small crew to schedule the one-on-ones with training and the one-on-ones, life happens in the communities. So these online ones are working really well. People can do them when they have a break in their work, and they're scored on their knowledge and their grasping of the concept. Did I miss anything, Mr. Thomashat, that you want to add about training and development?
Do we have programs where there's off-the-job training, compulsory off-the-job training? That's where some of this stuff might fit in.
So I'd like to step in here just if I could, Mr. Mayor, through the Councillor Campbell, just to maybe perhaps put your mind a little more at ease on some of the questions that you have. So there are competencies that all staff must go through. And I'll just, for example, we'll use, let's say the front end loader. There is a list of questions that are on paper, and they must be able to pass or satisfy the person that's doing it. And typically it would be myself or a safety supervisor. And they would have to be able to orientate through that checklist. Once done, there's a practical exam to that. Once they're done that, they're signed off to operate that piece of equipment by either myself or the safety supervisor. That's one example of many examples that we have when it comes to equipment. When it comes to operating one of our facilities, let's use the water treatment plant. There are Alberta environmental guidelines that must be followed above and beyond the towns. So there is a set of guidelines and regulatory laws that must be followed. In this case, certification. So of course, to be able to operate the water distribution plant, you would have to be certified, and that would be have to be satisfied with Alberta Environment. And that would be by having enough time in and actually doing the exam. Other examples, just to make it brief, would be to be able to do WMIS, and Councillor Campbell, I know you have to do some of that in your work as PDG, WMIS, et cetera, et cetera. These courses are taken online and prior to COVID in person, along with first aid. So there are procedures in place to ensure that the operator and or employee is trained and competent prior to moving up in a level or satisfying that competency.
One more question then. What is your qualifications for your ice plant operations? It is a refrigeration unit. What government training is in there?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through to Councillor Campbell. So right now it's up in APSA's hands. That's the Alberta Boilers Branch Association, and I believe Councillor or Mr. Mayor knows what that's about. So they're tossing around the idea to have a minimum class 5. That would be the refrigeration end of it before going to a class 4. So they are tossing it around right now. The prerequisite is to have ammonia training of some sort. And we do have employees such as myself that have gone through that training to ensure that in order to be in the plant where the compressors are, you must have that training in place.
That clarifies a lot of questions. Thanks, Dennis, for your knowledge and your willingness to share it with us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for the question, Councillor George, and for the answers from the administration. Any other questions on this policy? Okay, if no further questions, and we'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion? Hearing none, the motion's carried. And so now we move on to 8.2, revision to the Disability Management and Early Return to Work Program Policy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Administration would like to present this report to provide information to Town Council to consider revisions to the Disability Management and Early Return to Work Program Policy, HUM-087. The Town Council approved the Disability Management and Early Return to Work Program Policy, HUM-087, as revised on January 19, 2022. Previously, Council approved the personal and Personnel and Procedure Policy number 29 in 2002, 2013, and on December 16, 2015. This Disability Management and Early Return to Work Program Policy, HUM-087, contains portions of information from that previous Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual and places it in a separate policy. This policy was approved by Town Council on April 4, 2018. Strategic plan areas, the community is educated on responsibilities and limitations of council and administration to provide services and support to allow staff to return to work as soon as possible after injury or illness. Other impacts, Occupational Health and Safety Act. Summary, administration reviewing policies, determine if updates are required. Revisions to this policy include changing administrative responsibility from Director of Finance to Director of Corporate Services, the addition of supervising and in front of the word director to reflect which director is responsible for carrying out the procedures, change the review date to April 2025. Added Section 5 under guidelines, which addresses the development of a database to enhance and monitor the effectiveness of disability prevention and management initiatives undertaken to prevent further injury and wellness. This revised disability management and early return to work program policy, HUM-087, will be shared with employees. And Mr. Mayor, we've attached the previous policy and the current policy we are suggesting.
Thank you very much, CAO Pat. And I must say that great job on bringing forward policies and bylaws to approve and amend and to keep on top of. A lot of work there. Thank you for that. So we're looking for a motion from council for this disability management and early return to work policy. Would someone be willing to make that motion? Councillor Ashley.
That Town Council approve the Disability Management and Early Return to Work Program Policy HUM-087 as revised on January 19th, 2022.
Thank you very much, Ashley. So any comments, questions, or concerns with this policy from council? Can't tell, George, do you have your hand up or you're
Yeah.
just, okay, Councillor George then.
I'm not holding my head up. Anyway, I would just like to know, on the work return, who has a final say as to whether a person can return to work or not?
Mr. Mayor, through Council Campbell, our current policy follows the Occupational Health and Safety Act of Alberta that they have to have a note from their doctor. And so we have a form they take to their doctor, and it's very specific about what they can do while returning to work. It's about a 3-page document, I believe. And it's like, how much can they lift? How much can they sit? How much can they operate? How much? And it's been very effective with our staff.
And on this work limitation, is there any timeline?
Mr. Mayor, through Council Campbell, limitation as in how long they can stay on it, or
Yes.
that's up to their doctor?
So we're,
As an employer, we are responsible for providing an opportunity. Yeah, absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Campbell, and thanks for the answer, CAO Pat. Any other comments, questions, or concerns, thoughts on this policy? Hearing none and seeing no hands raised, call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion? And hearing none, the motion is carried. And we move on to 8.3, bylaw 02-2022 for the land use. Take it away, CAO Pat.
Just a minute, Mr. Mayor.
No worries. Oh, sorry, Mr. Mayor. Proposed amendment to bylaw 02-2022 would amend the Town of Bruderheim Land Use Bylaw 33-2015 as amended land use bylaw. The proposal would create a new mixed-use district, C3, and insert new use definition in the LUB. The general purpose of the C3 district is to provide for development that integrates street-oriented commercial and business uses with the potential residential uses on upper floors. This district is not intended for large format commercial development. The amendment would include definitions for the following uses: children's indoor play facility, microbrewery, pet grooming facility. Other permitted and discretionary uses included in the C3 district are already defined in the LUB.
Mr. Mayor, LUB is the acronym for land use bylaw. The proposal would also redistrict a portion of Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 0725539 from R3 High Density Residential District to C3 Mixed Use District. The area being amended is shown on the attached Schedule A to this report. Background: the amendments to the land use bylaw and map have been proposed by the developer in order to diversify the potential commercial uses within the subject site to provide for a mixed-use development area in the town of Bruderheim. The site affected by the West Woodlands Outline Plan was redistricted by bylaw 06/2018. The outline plan must be revised concurrently with the approval of the proposed LUB amendment to ensure that the LUB amendment is consistent with the approved outline plan. The proposed outline plan amendments are attached to this report for council's information. The developer held a public open house to provide information about the proposed amendments to the outline plan and the LUB on 13th of December 2021. The open house was attended by 13 residents and a member of town administration. Comments received prior to the 1st of January 22 deadline are attached to this report as Schedule B. The lands which are subject to the proposed LUB amendment are adjacent to 52nd Avenue North boundary and 51st Avenue Southern boundary. 51st Avenue is not constructed within the subject site. 52nd Avenue is a corridor used by residents entering and leaving town and may anchor the proposed residential developments in West Woodlands. The lands are flat and contain a treed area to the west. The lands are not affected by an abandoned wells. The lands do not appear to be affected by wetlands. The site appears suitable for the proposed use, mixed-use commercial and residential development. Statutory compliance. The proposed amendment was reviewed to ensure consistency with the town's municipal development plan, bylaw 15-2013 as amended, MDP, in relation to the following matters. Plan goals: expand and diversify the town's economic base while providing a high-quality living environment for residents. Encourage economic development and renewal by supporting new and existing economic assets within the community, including traditional and regional economic drivers. Encourage growth on the town's economic development capacity by providing opportunities for commercial and industrial development. The lands are identified as residential on map 2, future land use. Objective 5.2.1 of the MDB is to ensure that there is an adequate supply of competitively priced commercial land to realize Bruderheim's commercial development potential. Policies to achieve this objective call for council to encourage commercial development and promote the town of Bruderheim as a local commercial and service center for residents, visitors, and industry. The proposed development creates opportunity for new commercial development and supports the policies in this objective. Objective 5.22 of the MDP is to distinguish between various commercial uses, including neighborhood commercial developments. Policy 1 defines neighborhood commercial developments as small retail outlets intended to provide goods and services to local residents. Policy 2 notes that the future neighborhood commercial development may occur where specifically indicated in the town's land use bylaw within the areas designated residential in the future development plan. Object 5.2.3 of the MDP is to recognize emerging trends in retailing and commercial land use, including the creation of mixed-use intensification nodes for future development areas. Policy 1 states that the mixed-use developments that provide for commercial and residential uses within the same building will be encouraged. Policy 2 encourages that the town to identify important development sites and opportunities that have mixed-use development potential and that would benefit the community. The developer has identified this as an area which may support mixed-use development. The proposed LUB amendment encourages commercial development within the town, is located on a site which is appropriate for the development, and is located on lands identified as future residential, and therefore is consistent with the town's MDP. West Woodlands Outline Plan. The developer has proposed several changes to the West Woodlands Outline Plan to facilitate the proposed redistricting of lands. The outline plan amendments will result in approximately 1.13 hectares or 2.79 acres of land being identified for mixed-use development and a reduction in the proposed amount of high-density residential development from 1.47 hectares, 3.6 acres, to 0.34 hectares or 0.84 acres. The mixed-use district provides for residential and commercial development on the same parcel and may provide residential dwellings for up to 147 residents. The outline plan also proposes to include additional sidewalk on the northern boundary of 51st Avenue to the west of 57th Street in order to provide additional pedestrian circulation options adjacent to the potential mixed-use development. Amendments to the proposed outline plan are being finalized and will require adoption by council resolution prior to the public hearing for bylaw 02/2022. Proposed insertions and deletions to the West Woodlands outline plan are attached to this report as Schedule C. Public notification and advertising. The notification and advertising requirements for land use bylaw amendment and public hearing identified within the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000 CM 26 as amended. The act has not been satisfied, have not been satisfied. If council gives first reading to the proposed bylaw and schedules a public hearing to consider testimony regarding the proposed amendment, administration will take the necessary steps to satisfy the requirements of the act. Recommendation, the council give first reading to proposed bylaw 02/2022 and schedule a public hearing to consider public testimony regarding bylaw 02/2022. Attachments, Schedule A, we have the proposed amendment area. Schedule B, public feedback received prior to 1st of January 2022. Schedule C, proposed insertions and deletions to the West Woodlands Outline Plan. And that's everything, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. That was a considerable amount of reading. Thank you for doing that. So I'm looking for a motion from council for the first reading of this bylaw. Deputy Mayor Judy has her hand up.
I make a motion that town council give first reading proposed bylaw 02-2022 and schedule a public hearing to consider public testimony regarding bylaw 02-2022, a bylaw to amend the town of Bruderheim land use bylaw 33-2015 as amended.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. No, open it up for any comments, questions, or concerns from council. Councillor Wayne has his hand up.
Thank you. Just a question. It says here on the first page, under proposed amendment, to redistrict a portion of lot 1, block 1. Does that include north of the, I guess the little roundabout or cul-de-sac parallel to 51st Avenue? That the block up there?
Wayne, or Councillor Oleko, sorry.
Thank you.
On the map, Schedule A, it is just that little area, that little strip
Schedule A.
on along 52nd Avenue. It does not affect the cul-de-sac area.
No, so I'm asking if it's that block that's above the north of the cul-de-sac, because it says lot 1, block 1 right next to the cul-de-sac. So I'm just curious. Yeah,
No, it's not.
because all I have is Schedule C. Down here. Is there a Schedule A?
Yes, there is.
Oh.
So when you come along 52nd Avenue and you turn into that area,
Okay, that's the part I'm talking about. Yes. Okay.
yeah, there is on the, when you're driving into that area on the left-hand side, there's just a couple lots there that would be part of that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I was just more worried if it was inclusive of the 49 Avenue, the cul-de-sac there as well, that area as well.
No, it will
Okay.
not include that.
Okay. The reason I was asking because it said it was going to be mixed with residential on top and commercial on the bottom. So I just want to make sure that was right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Wayne. Thanks for the answer, Director Sherry. And Councillor George, you have your hand up. It's hard to tell.
On these schematics, I don't see any utility easements, drawings, or any specs as to how they're going to bring in utilities, where they're coming from, if there's easements for the town's protection, if we have to bring in a new water line from the corridor, or
So Councillor Campbell through Mayor Hauk, that information will be coming later. This is just to start the process, just to amend the bylaw to allow us to even go to the next steps.
so you're saying that in our next presentation, we could have some information?
As we move along, you'll get more information, yes. This is just the first part of the steps involved.
So, Mr. Mayor, just to remind council, the first thing we do to amend a bylaw, the land use bylaw, is get council's approval with the first reading. We go to public hearing. And then we hear what our residents have to think about the amendment. And then we go back for second and third reading. And then we go back to the developer and say, yes, we've approved that use. And then they go to the design phase, and then they come back for development permits and approvals. And it's a very, very long process. So this is the very first step. So they're not going to use funding to get designs and to talk about what you talk about in structure if the community is not in favor of the design, right?
Just a question that I was thinking of our own protection.
Okay, and Councillor Dana has her hand up.
Just out of curiosity for, like, we're just starting on this, but is someone always going to be included? Like if there's like a meeting to talk about and discuss it, kind of like we had at the hall? Like, are we all going to be like involved and the community throughout going to be involved in this?
So that was the open house for the change of the bylaw. And so we didn't receive negative feedback about any opposition. So now council says, yes, we'll go to first reading or no. And to change the use of the land, right now it's designated as strictly residential. And so if council agrees to entertain the thought of doing combined use, then we go to a public hearing where people are invited to either written or oral submission on their concerns, present to council, and then council has a discussion only approving the change in use. And the developer may stop it right there and say, maybe in 5 years, or maybe I'm going to keep going. And then he or she, would go through the development process. And then we would engage public again and council. And yeah, it's a very long process. If that does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a little, yeah. So just out like, because there's a whole list of stuff here of explaining. And was this all set? Did he did the developer put this in place already? Or was this something that was kind of ideas brought from other individuals in the, like, you know what I mean?
The use of the commercial space?
Yeah, like where it says daycares and.
So our land use bylaw is very clear on what kind of uses can be. So again, yeah, he's visioning what type of services, but as long as it's a service, if council was to agree and pass the bylaw to use mixed use, there's a list in our land use bylaw that tells you already what things can be in there. And then if it's not in there, they can always come to council and can go through another process too. Yeah.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thanks for the question, Councillor Dana, and for the answers, CAO Pat. Just wanted to suggest that if at any time council wants to review what the land use bylaw in full says, that's usually a good idea. And I believe Councillor Ashley had her hand up, and I think Deputy Mayor is next after Ashley.
Mayor Hope, can I just intercept for just a moment here and answer further to Councillor Jacobs? Included at in the information that I provided for you is a copy of the actual bylaw. And a lot of the things that were proposed as part of mixed use were already contained in our bylaw. So when you look at bylaw 02/2022, the actual bylaw amendment that we have there were 3 more mixed uses added because we didn't have them in our bylaw as part of mixed use. And those came as a result of the developer bringing some ideas forward, discussion at the open house, discussion with the administration. And so this is what we're bringing forward at this time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Director Sherry and Councillor Dana. Now we move to Councillor Ashley and then Councillor Judy.
My question was very similar, just because they had said the dog grooming, the microbrewery, that doesn't mean he necessarily has to put those businesses in place, correct?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Carter, no, that's correct. These are just ideas and we're making additions, like Mrs. Cote said, to the current land use bylaw. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, anytime if anybody wants to come to the offices to look at this particular section of the land use bylaw, it's quite a lengthy document. It's also online. If you would like to read it and then ask us questions, we're more than happy to explain. It's quite a lengthy process.
And also, if we pass this, as it's not going to just be residential, and then this developer decides that he no longer wants to develop in Bruderheim, then would that open it up for other developers that would want to open commercial up there in West Woodlands?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Carter, absolutely. Or we could have a developer that comes back with another idea and we could bring it back to council to change again. So
and start all over.
It's a doc. The land use bylaw though is very hard to change. We have to have public hearings. Like It's not as easy as a different bylaw, and it has to match up with our municipal development plan and legislative planning and development. There's a lot of statutes involved in this, and that is to protect the community, right? To make sure that we don't put an industrial development within a residential area, right? So yeah, it's a very, document can be changed, absolutely. If something changed where somebody had a different idea.
And also, if this would all go through, let's say, I know this is not going to happen tomorrow, but then is it up to the developer to fill the businesses so that we don't just have an empty building with no businesses left there, you know what I mean?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Carter, it would be the same as a builder building houses and then selling them, right? So it'd be the same. Yes, potentially a commercial space could sit empty until they get people that are interested in starting a business there. But
Okay.
yeah, I would, and of course we would work on the economic development side to try to attract business. And I can tell council that we often get people looking for small spaces to lease here in town, and we just don't have anything here. So yeah, a lot of people like to prefer to lease as a business, small business venture, right? So I think we could definitely use some small lease spaces for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for the answers and the questions. Just wanted to point out that during the open house that was just passed, or on the public hearing coming forward, I think that part of the doing homework is falling on our developer. And if he was wise, he wouldn't be pursuing these type of ventures if he didn't have some indication that it's something that folks are looking for. So, but it would be a good question to ask him. So moving on to Deputy Mayor Judy now.
So just to clarify the discretionary uses, if they figure out that they want to put one of those discretionary uses in there, they have to come back to council to get our approval. Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Mayor, through Deputy Mayor, that is absolutely correct.
Okay, thank you.
And they would also have to follow the development permit process like any other business. Yeah.
Any other questions from council for this? I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Yes, the process can be lengthy. And like City of Edmonton, it can take years for something like this to happen, depending on the size and scope and changes involved. And sometimes it can be very short timeframes, like changing the zoning for the hot family garage besides Family Mart. That didn't take very long at all. But it wasn't contested, and it was something that the town was encouraged to see. I have a couple questions on the document itself. On page 1, it says B, where it says part 7.16, neighborhood commercial development. I take it that this document that we were given in our package is just a snippet of the actual bylaw. It doesn't have all of the portions because we don't see part 7.16 in the attachment.
Council, Mayor Hauk, that is correct. It's just referencing parts of the land use bylaw.
Right, and then it would be the same as that on page 3. Number 5, additional regulations, where it talks about 6.13 and 6.21 and so forth, right?
That is correct.
Yep. And my last question is the number of folks that were quoted as being at the open house, does that include council or does that exclude the council numbers?
Through Mr. Mayor, that includes council members.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
I can add to that we had a lot of members, residents actually contact the administration office after the open house to gather information. And I emailed a lot of information out to residents for them to review. Some of them did call the developer to get some clarification on some of the information because that was an option for them as well.
Okay, and that feedback that you were getting from those phone calls, was that of the positive nature or?
The phone calls generally were just inquisitive. They had missed the open house and were looking for the information that was being shared. Yep,
Okay,
so I
thank you very
emailed all
much.
the documents. Yeah.
Thanks, Sherry. Any other comments, questions, concerns with this first motion, first reading? Not seeing anybody's hands up, so call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to this motion? Hearing none, then the motion is carried and we can move on to council committee reports. Would someone
Mr.
be
Mayor,
willing?
sorry,
Yep,
who made the motion? Oh, sorry,
Deputy
we
Mayor.
missed it. Thank you.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor Judy made that motion. I saw her waving her arm around. So the council committee reports, looking for a motion from council to accept the council committee reports as information. Deputy Mayor is waving her arm there. Thank you.
I make a motion that council receive the council committee reports as information.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the council committee reports as information? Hearing none, call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the receiving the council committee reports as information? And that motion is carried. Moving on to the mayor report, would someone be willing to make the motion to receive the mayor report as information? Councillor Wayne.
The council receive the mayor report as information.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council on that motion? Couple things that are not in there that I wanted to add. Forgot to add that I attended the Santa Skate, a great event, and lots of people out and little kids. So it was great. I also wanted to add that I attended the Alberta Small Communities Committee for the Alberta municipalities, and there's a bunch of information that I emailed to our council, the agenda and what was talked about, some of them very timely for our community. And I also wanted to add that on January 16th, I met with the Wainwright mayor and we had a good chat, learned about the town of Wainwright and their challenges. Any other comments, questions, or concerns with the motion for us for the mayor report? Hearing none, I call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. So then we can move on now to the next section of the agenda, and that would be the closed session. So we need a motion to go out of the public session.
We need the CAO's report.
Yeah.
Mayor
Oh,
Carl.
sorry, yeah, I missed that. Great. Thank you for that. So looking for a motion for the CAO report. Councillor George has his hand up.
I'll make a motion that council receive the chief administrative officer's report as information.
Thank you for that motion, Councillor George. Any comments, questions, or concerns on the CAO report? Councillor George.
Can you give us an update on the last snow removal that we've done, the contracted services, and what it costs us? And
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, I'll let my Director of Public Works take this one. Mr. Tomasha.
Mr. Mayor, through to Councillor Campbell. So you're looking for information on how it went and timelines and costs?
yes, I am.
Okay, so we started with the snow removal on last Monday and we were finished with the town by Thursday. So it took us 4 days to do the town with the contractor's assistance. The Friday, we started removing piles of concern in some neighborhoods, specifically on 52nd Avenue. So we did that ourselves without contractors. We were also able to remove the larger piles across from the seniors drop-in center. That was a little mini ski hill. So we got rid of that one and also the ones over at the arena. So in 4 days, we moved a lot of snow. If you're looking for loads, approximately 281 25-ton trucks were loaded, were dumped off, I should say. And our equipment used was our skid steer, our loader, our tandem truck, and even our tractor one day. So it was a really good initiative. Everybody pulled together. I couldn't have been more prouder of my crew. We did it in 4 days, the entire town. That included the arterials and the collectors. So fastest we've done. Our costs, we're still tallying up the costs on this. I'm just waiting for one more invoice. And once I have that invoice, I'll be able to provide council a total cost.
Does that answer your question, Councillor George?
Our equipment, our own town equipment performed fairly well due to weather and all that kind of stuff too.
Yes, with the warmer weather, it definitely performed well. We did have a hydraulic hose blow apart on the loader on the third day, but we were able to find parts that day and have it repaired and back in service. So everything went very well.
Thank you for that information.
Just a follow up on Councillor George's question. Would that 4 days included the back alleys?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I'm not sure it was my connection. I missed half that. I apologize. Can you say again?
No
please?
worries. On that 4 days that you quoted, did that include the removal of the snow from the back alleys?
No, we didn't quite get to the alleys. We got to a couple of them on Friday. All of the rest were done on Monday.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other? Oh, Councillor Wayne has his hand up.
Just a couple things. Do you know when the hemp facility is going to be operational or up and running? Any chance? There's a date set out?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Alecko, no, we don't.
And if I may, I'd like to say a thank you to Public Works for, in a timely fashion, fixing the platform at the outdoor rink. So I appreciate that, and makes it a little easier to get onto the ice. So thank you for doing that in a quick manner. And again, just a thank you to Public Works and admin for the last little while, especially continuing going through this COVID and working and doing the best out there. And especially through this deep freeze that we had the last 3 weeks, still out there, still doing the work. And so I just want to say thank you to all you guys out there working, and yeah, thank you for keeping us going.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne. I echo your statements, and Councillor Dana has her hand up.
Just in regards to public, well, snow removal, is there any way that we can get you were saying, Dennis, you were saying that you have invoices of like that you're tallying up. Can we get what it's cost for doing it in-house, including like repairing and maintenance done on your vehicle, on the equipment? And then could I get pricing on what it costs to contract it? Is there, like, if we were to get it like contracted into from out of town? So to compare the two, am I able to get something like that?
So, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Jacobs, you're asking what it would cost for us to do it in-house as opposed to getting the additional contracted services? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, but I want to get the price, like what it cost, like this year, let's use for example, like from right now to the start of winter, I want to know what our town, like what it costs to do it in-house, including the maintenance on the equipment, like numbers on that. So to compare it to contracting it out of town.
So we've never completely contracted it out. We always just supplement our own equipment. So the biggest thing that we need help with is the trucks when we load it out. And of course we get the additional loader to speed it up, right? So we've never done a complete contract out. We've only done whatever we need to enhance. So there's a lot of snow, so we need more trucks. And so again, we're somewhere between 15 and 20,000 for additional, in addition to our services for that snow removal.
Could we look at other municipalities around us that possibly contract to get an idea to compare? Or can I just get what it actually costs us on just doing our stuff in-house, but with maintenance on the equipment? That's all I'm asking. I just want to be able to compare it to.
Yeah, but again, we've never just contracted it all out, right? So like we've always used our grader, our skid steer, our truck, our tandem, right? I can put some stuff together and then maybe we can see if that's what you're looking for. And as to compare to others, that would be a really tough thing. Every municipality, like some municipalities have blowers attached to their trucks, to the loader, sorry. Some municipalities leave the snow in place. They don't actually pick it up. I only know this from my background with other municipalities that every municipality does it a little different, so it'd be a little skewed, but I can see what we can come up with for the time it takes. And again, like Brookside, for instance, a lot more snow over there just because of the wind, right? And the way it accumulates over there. So when you're actually talking about what does it cost for residential snow clearing, it all depends on the snow, the ice, the rain, right? So I'd be a little cautious on comparing apples to apples, but we can give it a try to see what you're thinking about. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, any
Patty,
other,
couldn't-
oh, Councillor George has a question?
No, I just the director. Couldn't we do an hourly rate comparison? Say, what is the charge for a cost for an hourly rate for a loader? And just how many hours would we need? And what is it cost to run our system? Just an hourly rate, say if we did it for over a 12-hour period. And that would give us a fairly close idea of what it would cost us to remove snow for one day.
Yeah, just leave that with me, Mr. Mayor, and I'll see what we can come up with that would make sense, right? Again, I don't want council to compare something that's not even the same, right? So
4
yeah.
months from now, we won't have to have this conversation.
We'll be having flooding conversations.
And thank you to Public Works. Like, I do appreciate, just out of curiosity, that's all. So I do appreciate everything you guys have done, snow removal, the back alleys. It is appreciated. So thank you.
I would echo Councillor Dana's statement about thanking administration and public works for pulling us through. Councillor George, you had another question?
No, he doesn't,
No.
Mayor.
Okay. Any other comments? It looks like Deputy Mayor has her hand up.
Yeah, Patty, just a question. I see you've transferred everything over on the website transfer. So we've got a new website. So all of our forms, when we download them, are they like PDF and we can go ahead and print in them, or do we have to print them off and print them?
No, most of them right now are PDF fillable. So yeah, our website's running in the background right now, our new website. So again, Jill and I are doing this ourselves with the assistance of some contractors. So yeah, we're just putting the spinning touches on it, and I will definitely send an email to council when it's live. Right now it is running in the background. And so that's why you'll find that our current website's probably a little slow and may not have all the most current information because we are just focusing on the new one running in the background. So super excited. Yeah, and we're going to fillable forms and links to like the campground registration where they can go directly and things like that to help our customer experience.
Awesome. Good.
Thanks for the question. Any other questions from council on the CAO report? Just a couple questions. The hemp facility, Councillor Wayne brought that up, and we were told last that we heard about the hemp facility back in 2021 that there would be a tour in January. Obviously, that's not happening.
Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Okay, and we are hearing that there's some new businesses up and running in the town of Bruderheim, and just wanted to do a shout out to administration for making that happen. And is there anything that you could share right now for the council and for the folks viewing this meeting?
To Mayor Hauk. Yes, we have a brand new business that's opening up in town. Their lease will start in March and they hope to be open in April. It is Allison Diaz from town that is starting a wellness group out of there. There will be massage therapy and tanning to start with, and then she has some goals to add more services in the future. So just stay tuned. We'll be sending out some information once she gets her feet on the ground here. And we'll send information out to all the residents about what to expect there and how to book appointments, etc.
Great. And
we haven't, sorry. And we also have the dental hygienist that is working out of the Infinity Center. And she has started her work there.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Sherry. I also wanted to inquire, we were looking for the intermunicipal meeting between Bruderheim and Strathcona, and just wondering if there's anything booking for that yet.
Mr. Mayor, Strathcona County had proposed January 31st, but unfortunately, Deputy Mayor Schuler has a conflict in her appointment. So we're looking to try to find another date.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be in the know of what's going on with that meeting. Thank you. I think that's it for questions for the CAO report, looks like. So call the question. Anyone opposed to the motion And the motion's carried. So now we're looking for a motion to go out of the public session. Councillor Wayne,
I make a motion to go out of public session.
thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion?
Can I make a recommendation that we do the correspondence and information ones public, and then when we go into the private session, we're done?
Is that okay from administration as far as protocol?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. We'll blame it on COVID.
Okay, so I won't accept that motion for the removing the public session just at this time. And we'll go to number 11, correspondence and information items, and looking for a motion for correspondence and information items. Deputy Mayor,
I make a motion that town council accept the listing of correspondence and information items for the period of December 10th, 2021 to January 14th, 2022 as information.
thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the correspondence and information items? I just wanted to mention that at the Alberta Municipalities meeting, I heard about the meeting that's going on this evening with information about the police forces. And I had asked if that information that's being recorded could be shared, and Alberta Municipalities will have it on their website next week so that we could view it. So at least we can see what was talked about. That's the only thing that I have to add about correspondence. Any other comments, questions, or concerns about that motion? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion to accept the correspondence act items? And that motion's carried. Now I will entertain the motion from Councillor Wayne for the closed session. Or sorry, for the going out of the public session. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Just on process, once we're done with that, then we don't need to go back into the public session to adjourn, or is that still required of us to go back to the public session to adjourn?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. We have to go to public session to adjourn.
Great, thank you. And also just wanted to point out for those that are on virtual like myself, there's a separate Zoom link for that, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
So we'll have to disengage from this one and link into the other one. So now I'm looking for a motion for the closed session. The Deputy Mayor.
I make a motion that we go into closed session underneath Municipal Government Act RSA 2000 M26 VoIP Section 17, harmful to personal privacy.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council with that motion? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. Anyone opposed to this motion? And the motion's carried. So we'll do the switch over and then get into the closed session.